In just over 72 hours, the New York Jets officially kick off the 2025 preseason against the Green Bay Packers. To help me break it all down is Tyson Rauch from Let's Talk Jets. We will also give our top takeaways about 11 or 12 practices into the training camp session in the first year under Aaron Glenn. So let's get into it.
Bring that here, all right? Go out there and press them and choke them out.
What is going on, Jets fans? It's your boy DT back. Third day in a row streaming on the channel. If you missed Monday, I was on with Buffalo Jet Fan doing our rotational streams, 1 week on his stream, 1 week on my channel. And then last night, I did a top 60 rankings. I concluded my series ranking the top 20 Jets players 20 through 1. But tonight, to help me break down all our top takeaways from Jets training camp and preview the Green Bay Packers preseason game this Saturday at 8 p.m. We're finally here, folks. It's game week. I have Tyson Rauch from Let's Talk Jets. Tyson, thank you so much for joining.
Well, first of all, thank you for the invite. Bro, your intro is sick as hell, man. I like that. That was really good.
Hey, I have to give all the credit to Gator. He put it all together. I will say I sent him probably like double-digit clips. And I said, here, if you want to take 3 seconds from this one and 3 seconds from this one. I love the fact that he added the go out there, press him, and choke him out. That was like the signature for me. So he killed it with that, but I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Gator's the best, man, because I went on Jake's show one day, and he saw my logo. He's like, bro, you need a better logo. Excuse me. In a matter of like 20 minutes, he emailed me a new logo. He's like, here you go, man. You're done. Gator's awesome, dude.
Wizard. He's truly a wizard. So shout out to Gator. The intro, it's gonna get better, right? It's only, it's rookie mini camp, so it's a lot of the rookies in just like street clothes. But as the season goes and we get more content, I will certainly be updating the intro. But Tyson, thank you so much for joining. I was on your channel shortly after the draft and we broke it all down. So there's a big gap in between everything here. So a lot to really get into. I asked you offline if you had been to any of the camp practices. I have not. You said you're going possibly next week to the joint practices. But I think just from reading and hearing all the things that have come out from One Jets Drive, we can conclude a couple things from these camp practices. So first and foremost, what has stuck out to you the most about the way that Aaron Glenn conducts his training camp practices?
I love the way he's approaching everything, to be honest with you, man, because when he came in with his opening press conference, talked about accountability and discipline and hard work and competition. But that's all talk, right? Like, all right, well, you got to show us what you're all about. Training camp comes and you're seeing it, referees in practice, a lot of attention to detail. When you have a young, impressionable team, that's paramount, man. You need that to get this complacent team that's used to losing to change their mindset, to change their approach, and to actually install your own blueprint. So I've been really impressed with Aaron Glenn, the way he's involved with his team, the way he keeps the media in check. He also supports his players in the media too. He does a lot of really good things we've complained about for the last 2 or 3 years, right? So obviously it doesn't necessarily guarantee wins in September, but the approach to training camp I really appreciate. I think it's going to pay off. I think it's going to be a hard-nosed blue-collar team, which is great. An easy team to root for, which is great. He's going to have his hands full probably backing Justin Fields because a lot of people are kind of attacking him on a daily basis for whatever reason, but I like it, man. I do. Again, I'm biased. I'm an Aaron Glenn fan when he was a Jet, but I think his approach here, when we were Jet fans, we wanted bring Rex Ryan back. He loves this team. Aaron Glenn loves this job. He wanted this job. You see his pride, how proud he's to be a Jet and how much he badly wants to turn this thing around. And he also has that discipline. We wanted Mike Vrabel or Brian Flores. We want these hard-nosed guys. He's hard-nosed. He just lacks some experience as a head coach. So early on, dude, I'm impressed. I'm encouraged, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think if we took the knife to Aaron Glenn and we cut him open, it would definitely bleed 100%. Green for sure. And the way, like you said, he talks to the media, he's very, not conflicting with the media. He's very stern with them, whereas Saleh was more buddy-buddy while also trying to lift up his players at the same time. I think Glenn does a good balance of, like you said, showing love to the player, but also kind of putting a boundary on the media and saying, no, you guys are putting that narrative out there about Mason Taylor or Arian Smith or whoever it is. This is what we believe in house is the deal. So I love that Aaron Glenn is kind of, he's walking the walk after talking the talk for the last couple months. And obviously the results are going to be the results. I feel like we have to caveat every single conversation in July and August with it has to result in wins and everybody has to stay healthy for these expectations to hit. But so far, so good. I think the thing that sticks out to me the most is the physicality, right? We've seen about 50% of the practices in pads. They're doing live tackling drills, live pass rush drills, a lot of move the ball 11 on 11 period, which, I mean, I would rather see players get banged up now because they're being so physical rather than the bubble wrap approach we've seen, like guys like Tony Adams in bubble wrap in the preseason. That's just, it doesn't vibe with me. So what are your thoughts specifically on the physicality aspect? And do you think that's going to help the Jets long-term this year?
Well, look what he's trying to overcome. This became a soft Jets team. They got pushed around. They got bullied. You question their effort. So he's changing that whole mindset. He's like, and the thing is, the players like it, man. These players want to be coached hard. They want to be physical. Like when you play, like I was always envious of, like, say, the Baltimore Ravens, the Pittsburgh Steelers, because when you played them, you're getting smacked in the face the entire game. The Jets are never like that. He's bringing that old school mentality back, which is great. And the other thing I like about him too is that he talks in detail about each player at every position in a press conference. Like if they ask him about a guy on offense, he can break down Arian Smith's routes and what he does wrong. Defense, breaks it down. Special teams, like Saleh used to be a used car salesman. He'd say, well, I got to watch the tape and does some good things. The level of, analytics that Aaron Glenn gives you, it shows you how much he's paying attention to this. And I think the players realize that, like, he has a standard and he tells you, listen, we're going to be physical, expect it. You're getting that, right? But also you're going to see the benefits of that. We could run the ball more. We could tackle better. We could do all these different things. So I think it's going to pay dividends. And, the one thing you got to keep an eye on, though, and because I'm old, dude. So I used to go to Bill Parcells practices where he did the same thing. But you got to know when you can pull it back a little bit too. Like you can be physical and demanding, but when you have a pulse of the team, all right, listen, these guys are getting a little beat up a little bit. We'll scale it back a little bit, get them healthy, and then ramp it up again. There's a fine line with being physical, and you want to be overbearing and like just running them out of the building. You want to keep their gas tanks too. So I like the way he's handling it so far, but then you got to figure towards the end of camp, you got to be more on, let's work on, our game plans and getting everybody healthy to, ramp up for week one.
Yeah, he's certainly taking an all-encompassing approach, right? Quinn and Garrett saying it's the hardest they've ever really been coached since they've been at Alabama and Ohio State, respectively. Yeah. They put out the 7.5-minute mic'd up clip of AG at practice, and he's literally putting his imprint on every single unit, offense, defense, even special teams. I think it was either Pritchett or Nwangu. He's talking about a certain special teams technique to do. So he's really taking the CEO approach, which if you listen to his backstory and how he came up as a scout and then a DB's coach, a defensive coordinator, and taking those steps, he seems like he's been prepared for this job since before he took the DC job in Detroit. And you mentioned Bill Parcells, so having him in his corner is obviously great. 100%. You can kind of speak to this more than I can because, like you said, you've been around for the Parcells era. All the legends at practice the other day, Krebet, Fabini, Mawai, Victor Green, his best friend. I think Rob Carpenter was there too. So many guys. What were your thoughts just about bringing the legends in and trying to, even by like osmosis, getting to these current players on the roster?
Dude, it's bringing the pride and passion back to the organization where you're actually proud to be a member of the Jets. But these guys are also sounding boards too. If you had relationships with them, hey man, you know what? You saw Chad Cascadden working with the guys. Like Chad Cascadden was a technician. Like these guys are great players, man. Victor Green was a great safety. If you can use them as a resource, hey man, if you have a question you want to ask me, reach out, let me know. Like they're all resources, man. It's never a bad thing to have that in your corner, especially as a first time head coach. And you also see that with the players. They talk about you have former players on the coaching staff. They say, listen, these guys have been there, done that. Like Sauce Gardner's like, listen, Aaron Glenn actually plays position on a high level. He was an all-pro corner at this position. If he talks, I listen because he's already been there, done that. So it gives him credibility. It gives him more. It gives him a good resource. I love it, man. I think it's a smart move to make. In the past, they have guys around. But you can tell it wasn't genuine. This is a genuine approach. You see the players love, the former guys like Victor Green loves Aaron Glenn. They all have a pretty good bond. So why not? I'm sure Wayne Krebet could teach Aaron Smith some things or Malachi Corley some things. So, the more the merrier. Even have Mike Westhoff coming in, dude, where that's a big thing too. Mike Westhoff's a penalty guy. He knows the NFL penalties inside out and backwards, right? He knows special teams. He knows game management, time management. These are all great resources where Aaron Glenn doesn't have too much pride to say, you know what, I know everything. He's willing to take feedback on his practices and on his approach. So I think it makes a lot of sense, man.
Yeah, I think it's not necessarily a coincidence that Mike Westhoff came in to watch one Jets training camp practice, and all of a sudden Caden Davis is out and Nick Folk is in, right? We bring in the veteran who's been there, done that before, and that just oozed like Mike Westhoff. And to your point about Victor Green, yeah, he was even chirping with I think he was a Packers fan on Twitter today, saying how like these aren't bums, and the Packers fan was taking the Rodgers angle of the whole thing, and Victor Green was letting him have it. So I love the fact that he's even going to bat on social media for his guy. You specifically mentioned Sauce Gardner there, and I think it's great because even a guy like him, 2 years, first team All-Pro in his first 3 seasons, he can still use that added coaching. And you talk about Glenn being at the position at a high level. Steve Wilkes, he has a very good background with cornerbacks. Obviously, Dre Bly and Chris Harris, the DBs coaches and cornerbacks coaches. So there's a lot of acumen and experience behind even the top line guys like Sauce Gardner, who are going to just help him get back to that all-pro form. And that's going to be the standard for a lot of these guys. So I really love all of that happening. With the Sauce Gardner stuff, though, we have to talk about the last couple of days of practice. Do you just chalk this up to the defense is ahead of the offense because they're learning, the defense has more talent than the offense, or are you starting to become concerned with the Justin Fields passing attack as it's currently standing?
I mean, let's be honest. This time of training camp, the defense is always ahead of the offense. That's the way it is every year, every training camp. It's just the same old story. Now, with Justin Fields, there is a narrative. People don't like him. Some guys don't like him. They want to see him fail. They expect him to fail, which is fine. But let's not let facts get in the way. New coaching staff, new quarterback, new players. There's so much newness right now where it's like, dude, you talked about, was it 10 practices, 11 practices? Like, if this is going on at the end of August, okay, maybe a little panicking here. These guys are trying to figure things out. And the reason why you have training camp is to make all these mistakes now and figure things out and take all these chances. Right? If he's going 20 of 20 in practice, something's wrong. It's too easy. Challenge him. Get him comfortable in the passing game. Let him understand what the route tree is, what his receivers can do and can't do. Like, these are all times to learn and grow. And the defense is doing great. Make him challenge him even more. Now, I will say this. I am concerned about 2 things. The wide receiver group is a concern because I think there's not enough talent there, especially if Josh Reynolds is banged up. Because after him, you have Alan Lazard, who is Lazard, Malachi Corley, unproven, Gibson, Aaron Smith's a rookie. Don't know what to expect there. You want more depth. And to me, Mason Taylor being injured with a high ankle sprain is bothersome as well because to me, I hear high ankle sprain, I think 4 to 6 weeks. Like, I don't think, you'll be back in 2 days, right? It's going to be like 4 to 6 weeks or, I mean, in my world, but you think negative. So we were hoping in the passing game, you have Garrett Wilson, Mason Taylor, Breece Hall. They can do that. And they take a Mason Taylor, could be banged up a little bit, whatever. You get worried. Maybe Stone Smart steps up. But I wish we had more better pass catchers, man. I think you don't want Justin Fields to drop back and like nobody's getting open. Like they double Garrett, nobody's open. And then what? He runs great, but defense is going to, that's my concern, and then it's up to Eng's trying to scheme him open. Like, what do you think? I think it's got to be even the most optimistic Jet fan that loves Justin Fields got to say, you know what? The skill positions are kind of a little worrisome.
Yeah. And I think as much as I love a guy like Braylon Allen, I don't want him to be one of your top 6 target getters and pass catchers on the season. And right now that's how it's trajecting, right? Garrett Wilson, Josh Reynolds as your wide receiver 2, Mason Taylor and Breece as your weapons 2 and 3, maybe weapons 3 and 4. And then it's like a mixture of Arian Smith and Braylon Allen, right? Like that's kind of your guys. So I agree. The lack of skill position depth is a little bit worrisome. I did a ranking series earlier in the summer where I just subjectively ranked every position group, how I felt about them. And I put tight end as 9th out of 10 position groups. And the 10th position group was special teams. And at that time, we didn't have Nick Folk. So the high ankle sprain of Mason Taylor plus the addition of Nick Folk, that gap is closing for me. And I'm very worried about the tight end group. Like you said, I don't think Mason Taylor is coming back for the Giants game even. I think we'd be lucky to see him against the Commanders in the 3rd week. And that's a lot of practice time missed. And I understand AG gave the whole, it's not that challenging. The media is kind of making that narrative up, but he was supposed to be our guy. I know the depth chart lied and said Ruckert was number 1 and Mason was number 2. That's to be given with the rookies, but we see him out there with the ones, and we see Justin thriving when he's out there with the ones. So to not have him in the mix entering the season potentially is very worrisome for me. So maybe they do add a tight end and they don't add a wide receiver, but I think we have to look at this as like, even though Josh Reynolds is the wide receiver 2, he's probably the weapon number 3 or weapon 4. I'm trying to take tight end, wide receiver, and running back out of it and just say weapon. And then it's like Garrett, Brees, Mason, and then Arian Smith, Alan Lazard. It's very worrisome. So I agree there. And then to the point about Fields, it's like, I want to stay patient, right? I wanted him in 2021. I feel less optimistic about having him in 2025, but I do think there are a lot of things we have not seen yet from this offense in terms of RPOs and zone reads and the designed quarterback runs that they're really going to hone in on come September, hopefully. And once we see that full version of the offense, I think we can finally start to judge Justin Fields accordingly, whether it is good or bad. And I'm just trying to stay patient. So I guess scale of 1 to 10, what is your concern level of Justin Fields right now on August 6th?
I mean, but what's our expectations? Like, I expect him to be an average quarterback that can do some really good things and probably do some really bad things. Like, I think he's gonna be, I think he can win games with him. I think he'll be competitive, but like, I'm not thinking top 10 quarterback. I think he'll be serviceable. And if the Jets hit lightning in a bottle, great. But I also think in practice, they're not doing what he does best. Like, okay, go run around, do this, do that. They're saying stay in the pocket, go through your reads, and throw the football. Like, they're trying to just work on certain things. So I'm not overly panicked now. I think it's too early, man. I think they have a long way to go. Engstrand's got to see, and like, this is why I hope that they actually play in a preseason so they can start getting in the huddle, getting in and out, see what he looks at, and find out what he's comfortable with. What can he throw? What can he not throw? What what's his safety valve? All these things, but I'm not worried. I think he's so committed to it. I think that Aaron Glenn, I think probably for the first time in his career, he's getting like an incredible amount of support from the team, the organization, where it's like, listen, last year you got screwed by the Steelers. We're not screwing you, man. This is your team. We're building our offense around you. We're trying to give you playmakers. So I don't know, man. I think we'll see what happens. I'm encouraged. Now, I will say this. Tyrod Taylor with this injury is pissing me off. We don't know what it is. And wear and tear injury makes no sense to me. So you're trying to implement your offense. So you have you have Justin Fields comes off, and now it's Adrian Martinez. And it's like, man, like Tyrod's still giving you high quality reps to help the receivers out. You take him out of the equation, which, wow, it's a pretty big step back, right? So I'm curious what this injury is. It doesn't really make any sense right now, but hopefully Tyrod's back. He's a big part of the equation, dude. Because if Fields does struggle or whatever happens, and you still want to compete week in and week out, right? He lets you do that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Before we get into like the preseason expectations, it's the Tyrod thing to me is so strange. When I first saw it reported, he was out with the knee injury. I'm like, okay, a little bit of soreness. Give him a rest day. Adrian Martinez and Brady Cook can split the reps and everything will be okay. Now they're still evaluating this injury a couple days later. AG hasn't given the, official diagnosis yet. And I hope that comes tomorrow. But yeah, like you said, this is a guy that you should be able to rely on that if Justin Fields has to miss any time, even a quarter and a half of a football game, Tyrod Taylor could come in, drop back, get to the back of his drop, hit the guy in timing, run the offense. Obviously, he's not going to be as mobile and as, physical with his legs as obviously Justin Fields would be, but he can still run a watered down version of this offense. If you have to go to a guy like Adrian Martinez or Brady Cook, who I know had a really good practice yesterday or the day before, it's not going to look nearly the same as what it would be with Tyrod. So I'm definitely interested to hear the notes on Tyrod Taylor. I also want to hear the update on Mason Taylor, like we talked about. Is it 2 to 3 weeks? Is it, 3, maybe even 5 weeks of an injury? So this is something that when I did the search on a high ankle sprain recovery time, I was not very pleased with the answers that I was receiving from Google. So with that, we can kind of transition into the Packers preseason, just preseason overall. How much do you want to see Justin Fields play this weekend? He put out a statement himself saying he wants to see the team play in all of these games. I assume he meant all 3 of the preseason games. So I want to see the starters at least in the first 2 games, however they want to divvy up 2 drives, a quarter, a half, whatever they want to do. I want to see Justin Fields and the starters play against the Packers and the Giants, regardless of what the other team does. I don't care, because I just want to see Justin Fields play within the timing of Tanner Engstrand's offense and use the spacing and the timing of the routes that, the not so special skill players are running and see what he can do live bullets, live reps. What are your thoughts about what you want to see them play this preseason?
I completely agree, dude. I think this is a very young team that's trying to find its way. The more reps you get, the better. You don't have to go crazy, but like give them a couple series. Let them play the first quarter this week, go into the second quarter next week, but give these guys plenty of reps, and especially Fields. He talked about he wants to do it. I think Fields realizes that they have a long way to go, man. And that while Sal used to put emphasis on the joint practices, which is great, go in the game, dude. Do it in the game. Like go on the field, call the plays. The other thing too is you have Tanner Engstrand calling plays to him for the first time. Does he want to be in the booth? Does he want to be on the field? How's the communication? You figure all these things out in the preseason. Then week one, you're not getting blindsided by all these different issues. So it makes a lot of sense. Now for other teams, like say like the Ravens, the Chiefs, where they have the same, or the Bills, same cast of characters, you want to be a little easier on them, it's fine. The Jets aren't in that spot. They have a long way to go. So clean up all your issues now, find out all your issues now, and get ready for week one. So if they want to play this weekend, dude, no problem with it whatsoever. I like it. If you want to hold out, like obviously Quinnen's not going to play. Like maybe like some guys you could say, Quinnen you could sit out, and maybe even Sauce if you want to do that, whatever. I don't care. But these other guys should all play, dude. They really should, because we saw when they don't play what happens. Look what happened last year. They came out and they get steamrolled. They're not physical. They're not fast. They're slumping. There's no communication, and they're it's like it's a mess. So prevent that. I have no problem with it.
Yeah, the first game last year was pretty much a microcosm of the whole season. The 49ers came out and punched us in the mouth. We certainly weren't ready for it. And that was a result of nobody playing in the preseason. They used the joint practices as their ramp-up periods, and that's all well and good. You're going against another colored jersey. You're hitting somebody that's not your teammate. That's fine, but you still need the live reps. Everybody needs the live reps. And I think it was either Kaz or Hughes who asked Aaron Glenn at the podium on Wednesday, Tuesday, I can't even remember what day it is anymore. One of the days about the move the ball periods and why he does so many of them. His answer was fantastic. He said, I need my players to be ready for live situations, but I also need my coordinators to get these reps. If it's 1st and 10 and they get their play call in and we know what the second down is, they're already ahead of the game. We need to know, okay, 1st and 10, is it 2nd and 2 or is it 2nd and 8? And now we have to make a play call and we have to go live, boom, boom. Like it's real time stuff with the coordinators, the personnel coaches that have to, okay, we're calling for 12 personnel. Okay, tight ends go. You got to get 2 of them on the field. Everybody's got to be in lockstep with that stuff. So I like that they're doing it in practice. Let's see it carry over to the preseason, and then let's see it carry over to the regular season. And that's just going to help everybody, like the Justin Fields of the world who may be struggling in this offense. If he has a command of the offense and he knows what he's supposed to look for on each and every play, if he and Engstrand are going through it and detailing every single play and the results aren't there, that's okay. I just want to see Justin Fields drop back, look in the right spots where we think he's supposed to be looking, maybe make the decision, maybe tuck it and run. But I just want to see everybody working in congruency these next couple weeks in preseason, because that's the only way it's going to get better when it actually matters.
Yeah, and it all makes sense to the players too. Like so many times, I go to Sal's practices, dude. You be sitting there sometimes like, what in the hell are they doing? Like, what are they doing? And that's why the team lacks situational awareness, game management was a disaster, because it's just like now these drills all make sense to them. It's all about competition. It's all about game atmosphere, game conditions. And that's how, when you're, like you said, when you're in the heat of fire on game day, you've already been there, done that. It's not your first time going through it. So go through it in practice. So, week 1, week 2, it's not your first time going through it. Your communication, it's like a been there, done that kind of scenario. So it's a smart approach, man, especially with this team that's been so dysfunctional and so poorly coached, and they kind of lack organization and any kind of discipline and leadership. Now you're trying to kind of get rid of all that, kind of distinguish it, and now put your own vision here. And you see the players. This is I've been a fan forever, dude. This is the first time in a long time where press conference after press conference, players always talk about a lot of attention to detail. We know what we're doing. There's no more gray area. I know what the coaches want from me. I know what's expected of me. I know my weaknesses. Like they're all universally talking about it. It's not like one guy with an axe to grind. They're all saying the same thing. Like, wow, man, this is really it's just a lot different now because they want to be coached better. They're tired of losing. They're tired of being embarrassed. The more they win, the more money they make, right? So this approach, it just makes a lot of sense. And you look at where Aaron Glenn's learned from, dude. Parcells, Belichick, Pete Carroll, Sean Payton, Dan Campbell, a lot of winning coaches, man. So if it works there, why can't it work here?
Yeah, exactly. And we already mentioned Quinnen and Garrett. I'll mention AVT and Brees as other offensive members who have noted something changing with this regime, whether it's accountability or work ethic with AG coming from, and it was a subtle shot at Rob Saleh. We're not going to, sugarcoat that. They're young players. They haven't seen many coaches in their NFL career. So to say, I haven't seen accountability before, that's a direct shot at Rob Saleh and the coaching staff. And it was clear that nobody had accountability last year. I do want to pull up this chat real quick from the GOAT, Jake Asman. He said, Tyson's new background makes me believe the Jets are winning 10 games, baby. Tyson, what say you? Because that background is pretty awesome.
Well, you know what it was? I'm watching all you guys get all fancy and stuff. I'm like, man, I got to change things around here. I'm like, Dylan's coming up, kicking everybody's ass. I'm like, Jake's, I had to keep up here. I have no choice.
No, I hear that. Everybody's trying to chase down this Ozzy Osbourne poster that I got here. So I love what you got going on, the music and the football. You're like me. Football on one side, music on the other. It's a great clash. It's two great hobbies to have. So appreciate Jake tuning in. All right, the next question I had for you, and then we can get into some of the chat questions that I have pinned. What position groups, I know we talked about wide receiver depth. Is there any other position groups that maybe before camp ends or, even before the regular season starts, do you want to see them add? I know defensive line is being talked about a lot. I think there's just a disconnect between the coaching staff and the outside perception on defensive line. I think they feel more comfortable with it than we do. Whether we're right or they're right, we'll find out. But outside of like the skill positions we talked about, is there any other position group that you think needs an addition so far in camp?
Yeah, we talked about wide receiver and tight end, especially Mason Taylor hurt. To me, the defensive line is a legit concern because Aaron Glenn keeps talking about stopping the run's a priority, which is great, but how are you going to go about doing it? Quinnen's out right now, no big deal there, but Byron Cowart got hurt now as well, so it's like, all right, he's banged up, but that's got to be a thing. But also what people don't talk about is who are the pass rushers? Jermaine Johnson coming off injury, bring him back slowly. Will McDonald, great, but if one of those guys goes down, who's your next man up? Who's the third guy? Like, how are you generating your pass rush? So to me, there's a lot of things there where you want to see, guys like Leonard Taylor step up. And, I think there's going to be a lot of competition in the preseason, but I wouldn't be surprised the Jets start making moves, dude, where you're looking at, trying to find upgrades. I know they like Rashad Weaver a lot, but man, it's not, Joe Douglas did an excellent job at one thing, absolutely screwing up the defensive line. He took the strength of the team and made it a weakness, which is mind-boggling. I don't know how he did that, but he's really good at it. So now you're looking at, are you counting on Michael Clemens to reinvigorate himself with Aaron Glenn's defense and his style of coaching? But the defensive line kind of, worrisome. Linebackers, you feel like you're right. Safeties will be interesting. I'm hoping Malachi Moore beats out Tony Adams, but we'll see there. Mm-hmm. But, we'll see, man. I think a defensive line, wide receiver, tight end, and you go from there. But what do you think?
Yeah, for those watching on YouTube, I just popped up the unofficial depth chart put out by the Jets earlier this week. Edge to me has been the one. Like, I'm okay disagreeing with the coaching staff about defensive interior. If they love a guy like Cowart or Jay Tufele or Fedarian Mathis, Leonard Taylor III, even if they like any of those guys, I'm okay. Edge, though, where I consider that more of a premium position. Yeah. And I understand Will McDonald is a great player and his coming into his third year, 10.5 sacks with only 2.5 in the last 10 games. So starting off hot, fizzling out the last part of the season, and factors beyond anybody's imagination happened last year, so you can kind of excuse it. But you look behind him with Jermaine out, it's Rashad Weaver and Eric Watts or Tyler Barron. And I would like to hope that Tyler Barron could be more than just a special teams contributor in his rookie season, but there's no proof in the pudding here that any of these guys are going to be anything. And Rashad Weaver has had really good camp practices, especially the ones without pads on, but I don't know if that really translates to success at the position this year because he's kind of been a journeyman. He's bounced around. I think we're his third or fourth team, and he's not very old as a player. So edge to me really concerns me. Depth at linebacker, I'm okay with the top line guys. I don't know if McCreary Ball holds up on that linebacker 3 spot over Jamin Davis, but if they added a depth guy instead of Zaire Barnes that they just felt a little bit more confident in, I'm okay with that. But linebacker, I'm okay with. And then to your point about safety, please, Malachi Moore, get Tony Adams off the field. I understand AG praised him for the way he communicates and handles all the movement on the back end, and that's all well and good, but I think a high IQ cerebral player like Malachi Moore can do all the same things. I don't think he wanted to mention Brian Branch when comparing Malachi Moore, but I'll do it in like the bowl and basket version, the ShopRite brand, Brian Branch in Malachi Moore. I think truthfully, Malachi Moore in a couple seasons is going to be wearing the green dot on his helmet instead of Quincy Williams or Jamie Sherwood at the second level. So I have really high hopes for Malachi Moore. And you have like 6 or 7 DBs right now where you're so interchangeable. You can go dime with 4 corners, put Sauce and Michael Carter in the slot, and then you have Stevens and AZ on the boundary, or you want to go big nickel with 3 safeties, and then you can still use Malachi Moore and Tony Adams at the same time alongside Cisco. So I'm really confident in the back end, but it's the front end of the defense, especially the edge positions, that make me nervous. And then other than that, I would like to add a tight end if we think Mason Taylor is going to miss any preseason time significantly. Like Neil Johnson to me doesn't need to get the reps when you can add somebody who's going to compete with Stone Smart as your tight end 3. And potentially, Stone Smart might not make the roster if a guy like Andrew Beck shows up and does really well. So I'm intrigued there, but I definitely think edge would be the position that I would look for.
And you made a really good point. I think Stone Smart could end up being like a receiving asset more than a tight end, like a receiver, Beck. Now, I have a question for you, too. It's like, what do you think about the returner position? Because I got in an argument last night with Ian about this, where it was like, Gibson's a nice guy. He had the Buffalo, won the game against Buffalo. It's great. But in terms of being a returner, I wouldn't mind an upgrade there, man. I think he's kind of inconsistent. Doesn't, it's like maybe he gets better coaching with Banjo and Aaron Glenn, not sure. But would you look for maybe a returner at some point if it's not already on the roster somewhere else?
Yeah, I think that's certainly a spot you can find on cut down day. Everybody cuts 37 players from 90 to 53. So there's probably a guy out there that they feel has that like Khalif Raymond type of ability that they see in a guy.
Jet.
yeah, exactly. Right. But if I'm picking a guy on the team, I just want to see Nwangu do kick returns and Pritchett get a chance at punt returns. I just don't want to see Xavier Gibson do this anymore. I'm tired of it. He had his moment in Buffalo, and then it's just regressed ever since. He's not getting better as a route runner or a wide receiver. He's not a separator. He's definitely not a contested catch guy. So Xavier Gibson definitely worries me. And I understand it's unofficial depth chart and he's first on both kick and punt, but I would take Nwangu and Pritchett, even a guy like Arian Smith, give him a chance. Another guy I think on kick returns that would help, that's already in-house, Isaiah Davis. This is a guy I think, like, if it's just basically an elaborated run play on kickoffs, why is Isaiah Davis not your guy? I feel like he's the one to me that, like, and it's a little unorthodox, I guess, right? But he doesn't have the breakaway speed, but he can break tackles and he can get you to the 34, 36 yard line and give you a net positive return. So I'm excited there. But to your point, Xavier Gibson, man, please get him off. You mentioned Stone Smart being like more of a receiver. I would say he's battling Alan Lazard for his role. Right. And then you have like Gibson kind of battling Arian Smith and Malachi Corley for that, intermediate slot 2-way go type of role there. So it's definitely giving a lot of variations for Engstrand to work with. Like 11 personnel, you come out Lazard, Reynolds, and Garrett Wilson, right, with Lazard in the slot. Or you can put Arian Smith in the slot there and have a little bit of a speed element to it. If you want to run the ball, obviously you're going to put in your big guys. But Tyler Johnson, too, he's another one we haven't really mentioned. I think he is going to push for those 12 personnel packages where it's Garrett Wilson and one other wide receiver. If it's not Josh Reynolds, I think it's probably going to be Tyler Johnson or Alan Lazard. I don't see it being Garrett Wilson and Arian Smith, right? That's a little bit too small ball. And unless they're really doing like a 7-man protect play action deep crosser where it's a 3-man route concept, you can use Garrett and Arian Smith there. But other than that, like, you have your packages where it seems like guys are going to start slotting in to this offense. And I'm really excited about Engstrand and what he can do.
And I'm hoping we see creativity. Like, for like half of last year, like, why are Brees and Braylon not in the backfield at the same time? It's the easiest formation to do to confuse a defense, and they refuse to do it. It was like once it started working, they stopped doing it. It was like a crime. Oh, can't do that. Worked too well. Can't, like, even you do Isaiah Davis and Braylon, because Isaiah Davis is shifty and explosive too. Like, you have so many versatile ways to confuse defenses that the Jets refuse to do for whatever reason that they have to bring back this year, especially when you have Justin Fields, man. Like, give them different ways to open up passing lanes, give them the easy throws, get them comfortable, open up the deep things. You can do all kinds of different options there, but it drives me crazy with that kind of stuff. Hopefully they do utilize that. It's just, you have to.
that's the one thing when we went from Hackett to Downing that I didn't like about the offense. Hackett was kind of, abusing the pony package to a degree. The Tennessee game, especially, I felt like they used it so perfectly. Braylon Allen on the cross screen that scored a touchdown. Like they did everything right in terms of personnel in just that specific game. And then Downing went away from it. He went to more 11 personnel spread and just get everybody out and let Rodgers, change every single route at the line of scrimmage and do whatever he wanted. So, yeah, I'm definitely intrigued to see how Engstrand, uses the personnel, but then also who adapts to what role in the offense. And I've been reading a game planning with the 2023 Lions book that Bobby Peters wrote, and I bought on Amazon. Dude, I'm learning so much about like the potential of what this offense could be. I'm trying to contain my excitement about Engstrand, but he's giving me those LaFleur vibes where like you're going to get those wrinkles of creativity and things of that nature. So really excited about Engstrand. We're at the 35-minute mark. I know we said about a half hour, but I have a couple questions. I know you're cool with whatever. You're the best for that. Kyle Clifton, perfect segue right here. Will Arian Smith get at least 25 snaps in year one? I kind of feel like he has to in order to justify a top 110 pick. I think even if he doesn't get 25% of the offensive snaps, I think his special teams role is going to be significant enough where you can justify it being 25% of the entire team's snaps between offense and special teams. So maybe it's not on offense specifically. Maybe it's closer to 18 to 20% on offense, which is okay. That's 1 every 5 plays. So I'm okay with that as long as there is a special teams component where we can look into year 2 and say, okay, progress as a wide receiver. Maybe your role shrinks on special teams, but increases on offense. And now you're playing 35 to 40% in year 2. So I think 25 is definitely doable for Arian Smith.
Yeah, and you broke it down perfectly. It's like, you got to keep in mind, he's a bit of a project. He's a little bit raw. You get something at him this year. It's not about always the short term, but the long term as well. Is if he becomes a legit contributor next year or the year after, it's worth the pick, right? So it's like, I think they're going to get a lot of them out of this year. I think they'll probably be close to that. I think they're going to use him a lot because there's really nobody else, man. We talked about it. At some point, Alan Lazard's going to piss Aaron Glenn off. Like, you know what? You're benched, and you're going to be next man up. So I think you get plenty of opportunities as long as he's consistent, catches the ball, doesn't do boneheaded things. I think he'll be all right. He'll make an impact for sure.
I don't want to poo-poo on Jeremy Ruckert, but he has like 230 to 260 career receiving yards over his first 3 seasons. It wouldn't surprise me if Arian Smith had that in year 1, just the way that I think that they're going to use him. Like he's good for maybe 20 yards a game, right? And then you get to that threshold of 300 plus. And maybe it's not 20 yards every single game. Maybe it's a 60-yard catch in one game and then a game where he has like 1 catch for 3 yards or whatever it is. So he's going to be up and down. He's not like one of those plug and play fantasy guys for the people that love the fantasy part of it. But I think Arian Smith is definitely going to have a role.
And there's a lot of pressure on Ruckert, dude. This is sink or swim time for him because especially with Mason Taylor hurt. Everybody, his blocking's improved. Great. Can he catch the friggin' football consistently? Like that's the key now. Like you've had listen, and I know we all like Ruckert, man. Jet fan, great story. His dad's awesome, met him many times. Great story. He's got to be better. He has to be better. And if not, he'll be gone. It's just as easy as that at this point.
Yeah, and one of Fields' most recent, 2 interception practice, one of them was because he threw a slightly high, slightly fast ball to Jeremy Ruckert, but it hit him in a spot where it was certainly catchable. It deflects off his hands. Brandon Stevens intercepts it. So it's like, okay, can we judge Fields for that? Or if we were all in attendance, the Ruckert tweets would be going up like crazy from Jets fans. That wasn't Justin Fields, that was Ruckert, and maybe we would feel a little bit differently. But yeah, the pressure is on him, and even Malachi Corley. Like, what can this dude do that's going to get him up on the depth chart? He fumbled in the Oklahoma drill. Like, those 2 skill position guys, to me, it's like they had so much hope, so much promise. The fan base was really behind each of these guys, and it's unfortunately not going well. So maybe the fact that everybody, or not everybody, but most people were against the Arian Smith pick, maybe that, he trends the other way and he becomes somebody really good and cancels out Malachi Corley. So that's kind of my hope. But
you also got to figure they're getting a fair chance here. They got a complete reset. Like they didn't care what you did under Saleh. You come here with a clean slate, show us what you can do in our system. If you play well, you'll play. If not, you're not going to be here. And Corley's been hurt too. It's like, it's like every little thing's holding him back, where missed time for him is important because he's proven nothing in the NFL. Neither is Ruckert. Like they haven't proved anything. So it's like, if you want to actually earn a spot in this roster and be a contributor, you've got to step up now in the preseason. I don't think they're going to be around, dude. I don't think it's like there's no more, no more like complacency here and like, oh, you're a nice guy, you're going to stay. I think Aaron Glenn's going to pull no punches anymore.
Yeah, and Corey was a guy, as soon as the pads came on, I'm like, great, he's going to show out. His physicality is going to show up. I was down at the Senior Bowl that year, that whole week of practice, and he's bodying defensive backs. There was a play where he intentionally, drew an offensive pass interference. He just ran at the DB and knocked him the hell back, like 4 or 5 yards, and he caught the pass, and it was rolled back on a penalty, but it got the oohs and ahs of the crowd, and like, I thought the physicality aspect for him was definitely going to help. Maybe even special teams, right? Can you just show your willingness to go back there on kick return or punt return? Like I said, it's an elongated run play. That's Corley's bread and butter, right? We saw the 18-yard fumble at the goal line. If you could do that on kickoffs, you'd have a freaking job on this team in a heartbeat.
Crazy, man.
All right, Peter Castro with a question. I know you talked about your expectations for Fields are kind of middling. So like, what else like do you have to like say about Fields? Like, what are your expectations? Like maybe yards or total touchdowns for him? Like, I know you said probably about league average passer, but what does that 糸to you?
I mean, I like Fields because I like his approach to the game, dude. He's not all about the headlines. He's very soft spoken. He's all about like actions, not words. It seems like he like epitomizes Aaron Glenn's mindset, how he wants to run this team. Hardworking, blue collar, trying to earn respect. Got a chip on the shoulder, wants to prove everybody wrong. That's the perfect in terms of passing yards. It's not going to be flashy, maybe 3,000. I don't think the Jets are going to be a high flying team, right? I think they're going to try to run the ball a ton, which Justin's going to run the ball a lot himself. Control the clock, time possession. Maybe it's a big shot downfield here and there. In terms of just, I don't even know about touchdown passes. I couldn't even tell you, dude. Maybe 30. I think it's something like that. It's not going to be flashy. I don't think it's going to be like, you're going to have some days he looks great, some days he looks bad, but I think overall it's going to be an average play, which is more than enough to win football games in the NFL if you have great defense and great special teams, right? I just think I like his approach. I think it just fits the Jets right now. It's like a no-nonsense approach. And I think having Tyrod backing him, I'm assuming he's healthy, helps a lot too. It makes you feel a little more comfortable if he does get banged up or does underachieve. I think that, Aaron Glenn wouldn't be scared to take him out. But what are your expectations, though? Are you like higher? Are you lower on him than I am?
No, I'm about where you are, maybe a little bit lower on like total touchdowns. I have it broken down as 2,900 passing yards. And again, the caveat, he's playing 17 games, right? 2,900 passing yards, I believe would be a career high for him. He's never broken 3,000. I still don't think he'll break 3,000 considering what we know about the offense. 2,900 rushing, 700 passing to give you a total of 3,600 yards. He's probably going to be your second leading rusher, I would assume, unless Braylon Allen really breaks out. And then the touchdowns, I am a little bit lower, 18 passing, 8 rushing for 26 total. So everybody's going to look at that and say, oh my God, but Rodgers last year got 28 touchdowns in this anemic 5-win offense. Okay, he had the second most pass attempts in the entire NFL. He had 3 more pass attempts than Patrick Mahomes. The only person, and I forget the name that was ahead of him, he was beat out by like 80 attempts by the first place person. And the guys that were below him, the next like 7 or 8 guys had more passing yards than Rodgers did. So the volume was high and the output wasn't as high as it should have been considering. So maybe I'm a little bit tempered on, the total touchdowns for Fields, but I think when you get inside the 20-yard line with this team, it's going to be crazy special to watch. You have too many weapons. You put Breece and Braylon in the backfield next to Fields. You don't know which one of the 3 is getting the ball. And then, boom, he's throwing it to Garrett Wilson or Mason Taylor or whoever it is, Josh Reynolds even in the red zone. So, like, I'm really intrigued to see the red zone wrinkles that Engstrand helps with because Fields keeps it. He can go for 10 easy. Fields can bust one for 70 even if they're on the the minus side of the field. So that's what intrigues me the most about Fields is the running aspect of it, which is obviously harder to predict, but I don't think he's going to blow us away and throw for 4,000 and be MVP type, Justin Fields. So
it's fine though. That you don't have to do that.
Perfect.
You can win plenty of games if he just the turnovers, dude. No stupid turnovers, no bad interceptions, no pick sixes, all the weekly. If he does that and they play high, just sound quality fundamental football, they can win games like that. No problem.
100%. And that's perfect segue again. Peganardi says, can we have more takeaways, please? And Peter Castro says, how about a few turnovers? Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be more conservative with our turnovers and our giveaways. But on the flip side, Tyson, I want to hear your thoughts. What about the takeaways from this team? Because Cisco, multiple picks in camp. Brandon Stevens is getting picks in camp. Michael Carter is going to get his. We know that. Even a guy like Tony Adams is capable of getting his hand on a pass here or there. What are your thoughts about the Jets defense taking away the ball, hopefully, finally, at a more consistent clip?
Well, they have to happen, but how are they going to happen? And you kind of referenced this earlier on where the pass rush, dude, where is the pass rush coming from? If, Jermaine is getting platooned out or whatever else. So it's like, are they going to be aggressive with the blitz, like blitzing Michael Carter second, blitzing Malachi Moore? Like, if they're blitzing, they generate pressure that way, you'll get more turnovers. But I think they want to. I think they want to prove Sauce Gardner's ball skills, Brandon Stevens, obviously his ball skills. I think Cisco can do some damage back there. Great range, and he's known for that. That's what he's actually known for. That's their goal. I'm just curious to see how they go about doing it. Like, it's funny because Rich Cimini always asks Aaron Glenn, like, are you going to be a blitzing defense or not? He's like, why do I got to tell you? You don't have to tell you anything. But so you want to see, how they go about doing it and making quarterbacks uncomfortable if the defensive line can't get pressure due to just their lack of talent or lack of depth or whatever else.
Yeah, 100%. All right, Tyson, we're at the 45-minute mark. I greatly appreciate you coming on. We're definitely going to have to do this again. The feedback in the chat is just absolutely amazing.
They're crazy over there.
Dude, they're really popping off. I can't even keep up. I look away to go to a different screen to ask you a couple pinned question comments, and all of a sudden there's 150 more comments ready to be scrolled through. So, Tyson, I appreciate you. We're going to have to get you back on. I'll have to, come back on your channel. 100%. Absolutely. Plug the channel. Let's Talk Jets and what you guys got coming up.
Oh, bro, you are crushing it, dude. Like, how do you enjoy having your own channel, man? It's stressful, right?
Yeah, it's definitely stressful. I think I'm like right at the end of my first 90 days. And I had I had a car accident in June, so I couldn't create content for like 2 or 3 weeks because like I could barely breathe with my fractured ribs. And then I had strep throat. So like it's been an up and down, start, but I mean, 600 something subscribers through 90 days. I feel like the community is just A1 since day one. And that's kind of what I'm going with. And it's been fun. It's been a grind. You got to put out content every day, every other day. You got to keep your ears to the ground and really, curate the best information. So you're not putting out a dumb video that nobody really cares about. But yeah, it's been a grind, but I love it so far. And everybody in the chat has just made it that much better. You're doing awesome, dude. You realize, I was like, I know I was waiting for him. Like, he's got to do his own channel because you can let your own personality come out, your own content. You control what you want. You can do as much as you want. If you slack off, you're not going to have subscribers. If you work your ass off, you'll get them, dude. And dude, you're intelligent as hell. You know football and outside and backwards. And you're like a diehard Jet fan. So a guy that has like a personal background or like that and a Jet fan, it's like a unique take, man. Dude, you're crushing, dude. I appreciate that. I love it, dude. I love talking to you too. It's fun. And like I said, our channel is just like my channel, I guess. It's not as organized as you, man. You're a little more official, a little more intelligent. We're a little more emotional mind, uncensored. We get kind of crazy, but we stream Monday nights. I do a stream with Ian, Jet Central. Every Tuesday we go back and forth. We rotate channels. Game streams. You do the Buffalo Jet fan DT thing. That's great. Yeah. We did it for what's like our second year, and it's funny because Ian's so like he's very like well spoken like that. And the last 2 years have just been beating him down because the losing's taken it. You can see like the stress. And now this year he's back positive again, which is fun. So and we do game streams and stuff and all kinds of stuff. It's just a fun channel, man. It's like we have a cool community, like chat like yours, dude. Our chat is just wild. The game streams are complete chaos. So we have fun with it. Hell yeah. Everybody, if you aren't subscribed to Tyson already, go follow him. Let's Talk Jets. He is an OG. Came from the Jet Nation tree. Yes, so like kind of following up in the footsteps of Tyson. And yeah, the timing of starting my own channel was just very opportune, getting a spot on Jake's show weekly and the draft and everything, which I love doing, so everything just timed up right. But to your point about organization, I planned for probably about 3 or 4 months on just exactly what I wanted to do and how I wanted it to come off. So yes, I can add my own little flair into it, which is great. That's the most important thing, dude. Because we talk to people all the time, like just stay true to yourself, dude. Don't try to be somebody else. Don't try to chase like subscribers and views. Just be yourself and you will flourish 10 times better than trying to be somebody else or trying to give a different message, because he comes off more sincere. Like, listen, this is what I believe. And we're all going to be wrong. Like, I've been wrong a million times and you get like 80,000 comments. Nobody cares, dude. It's because it's something you believe, right? And then when you're right, you kind of talk about it. So it's just stay true to yourself, dude. And you'll kick ass, dude. You're gonna smoke it. Hell yeah, I appreciate it. If I'm wrong, I don't care. If the Jets are wrong, that's a problem, right?
That's we talk about it.
All right, he's Tyson Rauch. I appreciate you, and we'll definitely chop it up again, Tyson, and I'll have you back on within no time. So thank you so much again. All right, there he is. That's Tyson Rauch. I am going to hang out because you guys are booming in the comments, and we are going to scroll all the way back up here and see where we left off because I know you guys have a lot to say. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Holy crap, a lot of new faces. I see Genergy in the chat. She's a new one, right? I feel like this might be the first time you're tuning into the stream. I see Ricky New York. Happy to have you in here as well. Nick Shine. All right, let's go all the way back up. Geez, you guys are going off. A lot of Cho talk in the chat. You guys are really going off about this whole Nick Shine bit. All right, let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. Nick, is this true? One Jets Drive just dropped their own content stuff, Proving Grounds. I mean, that'd be great. I love the One Jets Drive film, everything they put out, the origins and stuff like that. I love all the behind the scenes. I felt like we got a lot more of it with Salo, which is fine, but if that's the case and they just drop something new, that's awesome. Let's see. I know we have questions. Let's see. Wow, holy crap, a lot of Cho talk. You look away and it's just... All right, here we go. We'll start right here. Stack says Keeney will be the returner. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think that's definitely the case. Rick Kent, Peter Castro says Gibson will be cut. Gibson needs to go. I'm with you. I don't know if the coaching staff feels the same way. But yeah, I would agree. Xavier Gibson should be on the bubble more so than closer to the top of the depth chart like he is now, kind of by default, right? There's just not a ton of depth there. So if they have him as their fourth or fifth wide receiver above Arian Smith, it's not all that surprising, but it's definitely a bit worrisome. Clancy says, why can't Corley return kicks? Unfortunately, it's a question we will probably never get the answer of. I think something with Corley, it's something the Jets fans, like, we're just not able to, have access to that data, right? So, like, is it something between the ears? Does he not pick up the playbook? Does he not show a willingness to want to play special teams? There's a couple things that I have, theories about with Corley that I think it's more so than just he's not a talented football player whatsoever. He just stinks and can't do anything right. Ricky New York says, I think Tony Adams may end up being better than people think. Nice diving interception today. I think you mean yesterday, Ricky, because they didn't practice today. And that was the 7-on-7 one, which they put out a clip of, and I thought was a really good play by Tony Adams. But yeah, I think, if he ends up being, better than I think would be, pretty much doing anything right. And I'm not saying he does everything wrong, but it's tough for me to find the role for Tony Adams. It's like, what does he do well? And to hear AG say he's handling the movement in the back end, okay, he's being a bit of a communicator. He's getting everybody lined up, but I think Malachi Moore can do that before long. So, yeah, maybe Tony Adams surprises a lot of people here. Ricky again, he's got to shout out his Florida State guys, Pokey Wilson over Xavier Gibson. I saw your tweet about that earlier. I know he had that nice catch at practice over the shoulder deep down the left sideline. Yeah, man. One of these UDFA wide receivers is probably going to make it. I think it's probably Pritchett or I guess Brandon Smith was a UDFA last year, but he's technically a UDFA, right? So I would say Smith or Pritchett make the roster, but if Pokey Wilson, shows something in this next couple of weeks, I would love to see anybody at the wide receiver position really creep up and make an impression. Peter Castro said, I'd rather Dylan return kicks. I don't know if the wheels are still there, Peter. We might have to pump the air in the tires a little bit, get the legs going again. But I played soccer for a ton of years, so I have the distance, right? It's just, do I still have the speed? I'd probably have to lose about 7 or 8 pounds to feel like I could run full speed. But I'll return a kick, man. Put me back there, coach. I can at least catch it, and I'm not going to blame the sun or the stadium lights if I fumble that thing. I'll take accountability, AG. I promise. Rick, I made this joke before. Pokey will go back to live with Gumby. Every time I hear Pokey Wilson, I immediately think of Gumby and Pokey. That's hilarious. Nick Shine says 42 watching. Hit the like. That was a couple minutes ago. We're at, it was about 20 minutes ago. So there's a couple more watching. I hope the like count is up just as high. I cannot see it right now. I don't have YouTube open. Let's see. Christopher Wilson. Remember when we had Tariq Cohen for 5 minutes? Yeah, and then I think he retired or something, right? Or they cut him and he went to a different team and retired immediately. Very weird end of the career, I guess, for Tariq Cohen, who, he was one of those, quintessential 1 year wonders at running back, and then they increased his workload and he really couldn't they really couldn't handle it. Georgie just subscribed. I appreciate you, man. I don't know if Big Cho has found his way to the chat yet, but I'm sure you have some nice nicknames you can call him when he finally does. May Z said the coaching staff was so bad last year, it looked like they were throwing games. That's the worst part, right? Is it looked like they were intentionally doing things that, if you were, playing Madden or whatever you do, simulation football, and you just make all the wrong decisions, right? That's what it seemed like the Jets coaching staff was doing last year. And, credit to the players for, not entirely giving up. Guys like DJ Reed, they pretty much soft quit on the team when Saul was fired. But there's guys on the roster that still, stuck it out and played hard and tried to overcome the abysmal coaching. Rick Kent, Hackett is a bum. He absolutely is. It's unfortunate, man. I was such a huge, advocate of bringing in Rodgers. I didn't love the move for Hackett. I wish he was the, offensive assistant to a better offensive coordinator. But yeah, it's tough going from Mike LaFleur to Nate Hackett and feeling any sort of, confidence in your offense, even with Aaron Rodgers. Let's see what else we got. I assume you mean the Tennessee Titans game, Christopher. But yeah, that game definitely fooled me too, thinking that the Jets were going to be good. They barely won that game. It was 17-14, and it was only because Will Levis did the worst thing you could ever do as a quarterback and just pitched it backwards to nobody, and Jermaine Johnson fell on it. So yeah, that game definitely could have went south for the Jets very easily, and we would have been 0-2 going into the Patriots game, and then everything would have looked different. But the Titans game and the Patriots game, with the 10-day break following the, crushing of New England, I think it was 21-3. That was definitely the, the only high point of Rodgers' career other than him running out onto the field with the flag. Let's see what else we got. Yo Holmes says banking on a rookie 4th round guy known for the drops to play 25% is a stretch. Well, it's tough, right? Obviously, when you have the volume of drops on paper, the narrative is you can't catch, right? Clearly, I think everybody in attendance at Jets camp that's been reporting is saying that that's not the case, right? Having a high drop rate doesn't mean you can't catch. It's not one of those things it's I guess causation, not correlation, maybe, or is it the other way around? I don't really know what the analogy is to explain it. I think banking on him to give you anything significant is, probably a stretch because he is a rookie 4th round pick and he does have a lot of developing to do. I think what Robbie Sabo said earlier today on Jake's show that I really liked was he's running his routes too fast and he's getting to his landmarks too quickly. I understand that sounds like a bad thing, but I think it's, it's something that he just has to work on, tempoing his routes. When Fields gets to the back of his drop, is he actually breaking on his route with the same timing? So I think that's the thing with Arian Smith I'm really looking for. But yeah, I wouldn't say I'm banking on anything from him, but if he has a role carved out for him and he's able to execute it, I wouldn't be surprised either. Pagan Artie says Brownlee in a camp. Is that Jason Brownlee, the wide receiver that we used to have? I think he was with the Chiefs last time I checked, but I'm not sure if he still made it. Yeah, Rick Kent says he's on the Chiefs. So yeah, he's probably still in Kansas City then. Rich says Rutgers going to be good. Oh, I thought you meant Rucker. You mean like Rutgers, the actual school. I can't speak on that one. I hope they're good. I've been to Rutgers campus many times. It's a lot of fun. Let's see. I believe this is in relation to Jeremy Ruckert, but he said his coach at tight end, Ron Middleton, is unemployed right now, so maybe better coaching. Yeah, I think Steve Hyden being a former tight ends coach, coming in as the offensive line coach, and then you have Jeff Blasco, the tight ends coach, coming in as well. I think those guys working in congruency with each other is really going to help the upfront units in the run blocking game. I think they're going to, be able to have more sound communication, better techniques. I think they're going to be able to execute the run concepts a little bit better. Chris B, thoughts on Tanner Engstrand's ability to scheme opened our Jets players? I think so far throughout camp, we've seen he's doing a good job. I tend to lean on Robbie Sabo's tweets a little bit more than, the Saminis and the Causes of the world, just because I feel like Sabo tries to go up to the line with the scheme and the nuance and the detail in his tweets and reporting. Whereas, Cause and Rich, it's like Brees run, play action incomplete, punt. And we don't know what the hell happened on the play. So Robbie does a better job, at least in my opinion, of like breaking things down. Okay, it was an east-west pattern, which is like a crosser or an inbreaker, So to that extent, I think Tanner Engstrand has been doing a good job. That's the one thing, like I talked about with Tyson, I'm really excited to see in the preseason, even if it is the backups with Brady Cook or whoever. Like, can you scheme guys open at the wide receiver position, the tight end position, the running back position too? Like, we have a really good trio of running backs that I think you can scheme open in a lot of ways. Clancy says, what do we think on Taylor? 4 weeks? Yeah, I'd say like 3 weeks from now. So you consider he's missed, we'll call this day 3 or day 4 of the injury, considering he sustained it the practice before it was reported, I would assume. So we'll call this day 4 of the injury. If it's like a 21 to 25 day injury, it puts him back right in that bye week of preseason, right before the regular season starts. So my hope is that he's on pace to be healthy and a starter during, week 1 of the regular season. And if it lingers on anymore, I will be a little bit worried because, as Rick Kent says here, Ruckert is terrible. Genergy, absolutely. Ruckert has got to step it up. He's really on his last legs, and it's so unfortunate that, it's come to this. And as Tyson and I said, maybe you add a guy at the tight end position. I know people wanted Noah Fant, and I don't think that was ever really in the cards for the Jets. But if you can go get yourself a new blocking tight end, perhaps maybe Ruckert doesn't even make it. Ricky with some more optimism. Tyler Johnson and Stone Smart will both be better than people expect. Maybe you're right, Ricky. And I think also the expectation is very low for these guys for the most part. Like, my expectation for these guys is really not much at all. Like, under 300 yards receiving, a minimal role. Like I mentioned with Tyson, maybe Tyler Johnson can be your 12 personnel guy if Josh Reynolds isn't the guy opposite Garrett Wilson. But it's tough for me to see a role for Stone Smart, especially like with Allen Lazard on this roster. It definitely makes it tough for me to see Stone Smart doing anything of relevance. So my expectations are already low, so they can certainly exceed expectations. A lot of these guys, I have like rookie year Max Mitchell type expectations. So a lot of these guys really may surprise me for sure. Let's see. Yeah, Rick Kent, that's true. As much as everybody loved Ron Middleton, he never developed anyone. And yeah, he had his week. He had his week down in Mobile. He had his interim head coaching moment when Saleh had COVID. I don't know who Genergy is referring to here, but apparently you're a nice guy, but get the F out of here. I agree. If Genergy tells you to get out, you just got to get out. Unless you're talking about me, of course, then I'm not getting out. Yo, Holmes, I mean, it's tough, right? I don't want to say definitively he stinks or definitively he's great. I think it's training camp. It's August. It's a work in progress. We're gonna have good days. We're gonna have down days. Fields has had plenty of good days of practice too, right? Obviously, he's probably not gonna have that, 15 of 16, 4 touchdown type of day in 11 on 11s, especially against this defense. But let's circle back when they scrimmage against the Giants and they play the Giants next week, and I'll let you know if I think he stinks. But for now, I don't think he stinks. Boomtown, hell yeah, DT. Appreciate you, Boomtown, and congrats on your. Is it a win? It's a winning, right? You won the Sauce Gardner jersey. That's awesome. David D, great member of the community, showing love to somebody who certainly deserves it. Boomtown, you are truly an amazing, integral part of a lot of these YouTube shows. Yo, Holmes. Yeah, the QB room is a little bit sus. The Jets picked their mid, right? That's the BJF line. Choose your mid after they moved on from Rodgers. I agree with the mid that they chose because the mid has some upside to be pretty good. But if he ends up being mid, it's kind of to be expected, right? And that's kind of the contract they gave him, 20 mil guaranteed this year, 10 next year. So if he's mid, he's mid. Wow, Rick Kent with a stat. 14 of Rodgers' 28 pass touchdowns were from less than 10 yards. If there's one person that should take exception to this stat here from Rick Kent, it would be Breece Hall, in my opinion, because you're just taking away from a guy who should be eating and dominating inside the 10-yard line. That's going to change, though. I think we're going to see more well-rounded red zone play for sure. Papa Jet in the house. How are you, Papa? I appreciate you. Penalties have to stop. Yeah, that's certainly a thing. They came out into the one practice. I believe it was the practice after the green and white. So whether it was the Sunday or Monday practice, and they came out first play of team drill, 10 offensive men in the huddle. So they weren't ready. They go back, reset, get ready. 11 men this time, false start. Like you just can't have that shit, right? Like that's the stuff to me that makes a blood vessel pop in my head when I see those tweets come down. Obviously, again, it's August, so I'm not trying to, put too much into it, but clean that shit up, man. That's the stuff I can't get down with. Stupid, unnecessary, avoidable penalties. I'd rather have you make a, avoidable mistake in terms of an interception than see the undisciplined penalties. Like it's honestly brain melting how bad the penalties are with this team. Genergy said, I can't wait to blitz. Absolutely. Quincy, Sherwood, Michael Carter, Isaiah Oliver, even Tony Adams, Malachi Moore, all these guys, Sauce, Brandon Stevens. I would love to see all these guys blitz. And we're seeing a little bit of that at practice, right? I think it's cool when the defense, even in, training camp sessions, is showing the offense a ton of different looks and they don't know who's blitzing, who's dropping back into coverage. So I love the blitz element of it. Me personally, if I'm, conducting a defense, I would be a little bit more conservative with blitzing. But when blitzing works, it is super helpful for your team. It's going to help you create those takeaways. If you have 2 boundary corners who are disrupting the timing of the wide receivers' routes, you're clogging up the middle with good, linebacker safety play, and then you bring a 5th or 6th blitzer at the same time, you're disrupting the timing. You're speeding up the quarterback's process. He's getting to the back of his drop, and he has to make his decision a split second faster. So blitzing does bring in a lot of cool elements that I think the Jets need to utilize out of this defense that has so much talent. Nate, I'll take this as a compliment. This chat is like Jake's show, but it's all about football. I said it at the top when I first created this channel that I'm going to be like Hodor, holding the door back and all the non-Jets takes. I'm sure some of them will seep in eventually, but this is a Jets show first and foremost, which I'm still trying to come up with a creative name for this show. If anybody in the chat has some suggestions, because I was asked if this is in audio only format in terms of like a podcast or Spotify. And I have thought about that, right? But I need a title. I can't just be, unnamed football show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. So if anybody has some names, I will certainly welcome the feedback. But thank you, Nate. I appreciate it. All right, I'm gonna ask, and I'm gonna look like a complete newbie here in this community, but I see this all the time. WCA. I don't know what the hell it means, and I want to be upright and up forth about it and come clean. I don't know what the hell this means, and I see it all the time, and I just want to know what it means. I'll be honest. Chris B, thoughts about Steve Wilks cover 3 can be a change of pace for our Jets defense. Well, they ran a lot of cover 3 and a lot of quarters last year, Chris B, which quarters is basically, cover 4. You got your 4 deep covering a quarter of the field with your 3 underneath defenders in zone. I hope they run a little mixture of everything, but I do want to see a little bit more man coverage. So that would lean more towards your cover 1s or your 2-mans, things of that nature. So I think they'll sprinkle in some cover 3, but I don't know about being the primary defensive shell that they're in. I think they're going to do a lot of 2 high with man-to-man underneath, if I had to guess right now. Greg Rollo in the chat. Olu and Membu opening holes for our running backs is the key. Absolutely. And again, Sabo, another good tweet that he had was when the Jets were rushing to the left side, so Olu's side, they were creating huge holes to the point where the back was putting 1 foot in the ground, cutting up the middle, and he was able to, create a big gap for that rusher. So that's, a good sign that Olu is developing as a run blocker. Wow, that was really hard to say. So I'm really intrigued about the tackles here. Even though they are young, I think that they do have a good nucleus, especially on their offensive line. Let's see what else we got. Jersey Jet, I appreciate you tuning in. Rick Kent, thank you, but you're the man. Nate, yeah, Tyson is the OG of the YouTube streets. It was really cool when I found out that he was part of Jet Nation. Him and Green Bean are 2 guys that, I'm kind of following up in the footsteps of in terms of, Jet Nation transitioning to a solo platform on YouTube. Peter says, I'm the best. I appreciate you, Peter. Chris B says, hit the like button. We can't make Chris B sad, right? The most optimistic person in our community. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Make Chris B happy. He would love to see it. Rick Kent, yes, the community is A1 since day one. You guys are my steak sauce, which, all right, let's be honest. If you do the steak right, you shouldn't need A1 sauce, but you got to keep it in the cabinet for when you mess up those cuts. Papa Jet, I appreciate it. I'm trying to kick ass, right? I keep my foot in the door as long as I possibly can until one day I can just put a shoulder in it and bust it wide open. And that's kind of my goal here in the YouTube streets. And we're plugging along. We got 30 subscribers yesterday alone. Started with 591 and we ended the day with 621. So haven't checked it recently, but I know that I have a couple more considering the chat here has some new faces and you guys have to subscribe to become part of the chat. I'm waiting on a couple more songs from you, Papa. I finished the round of songs that you've given me to listen to. I do like them. I actually played the one the other day when I was driving in the car. It was a nice day. I put the windows down. It was fun. So definitely a fan of the music you're sending me, Papa, and I appreciate it. Let's see what else we got. Alan in the chat has to come in. I'm intelligent. Yeah, man. I mean, maybe not, school wise or like, I would say I got common sense. I got common sense, but the football stuff, I think I'm doing all right. I would never admit that, I'm the smartest person in the room. I never really want to be the smartest person in the room. Then you got too many people looking at you for answers. So as long as you're here, Alan, I never will be the smartest person in the room, but that's just where I want to be. Nate, you're absolutely right. Tyson's channel did get us through the COVID years. It's crazy to think that was already 5 years ago, but yeah, that's. Oof, I don't want to think about those times. Yeah, Chris B, tell him. Very intelligent. I appreciate you. There it is, Maisie. He knows positivity right on time. Alan's timing is impeccable. Let's see. Chris says, Dylan, do you ever see yourself doing a game stream? Oh, that's tough. Maybe. If I could never say no, right? Because if this channel blows up to like Matt O'Leary or Jake Asman type levels or Jet Central with Ian or Richie or any of those, solo guys, even Buffalo with 13,000 subscribers. If I blow up to like that point, I would have to entertain it. I don't think for the first season of me doing this, I'm going to be doing a lot of live game streams. Also, I don't think a lot of people will like the way that I watch football games, especially, the back end of the season when the Jets are already out of it. I will watch the game on a delay and I will do my play charting as the games are live. Like last year, I think it was the Seattle game, maybe. I was literally charting the offensive plays as they were happening. So the Jets would do their drive and then it would cut to commercial. I would rewind back and play chart all the plays in real time. So I don't think people would love the way that I watch the streams. And also because I'm not allowed to smoke in my apartment, I'm very worried about what the hell I'm going to do during these Jets games. I am not going to lie, because back in New Jersey, I could just sit on my couch and enjoy the game how I wanted to. So it's definitely going to be a learning process through this first season. But yeah, game streams, like I'll never say no to doing that. And I think everybody who does them does a fantastic job. I think Green Bean was one of the first guys that I would watch game streams for, and he does a great job. Obviously, Tyson does a great job too. Field of Dreams, Rick Kent, that's what it is. If you build it, they will come. That's the goal. I don't know what this is in reference to, but I'm just going to assume it's what I'm talking about here. Jersey Jet, yeah. I've made it, right? If Alan's my biggest hater, I'm doing something right. And for every Alan that's out there that hates me, I think there's about 20 or 25 of you on the opposite side who love me. So I love all you guys too. I love Alan too. I mean, you got to have people who are who don't agree with you all the time. That's what makes this community great. You debate, you don't hate each other. Nobody ever gets, personal feelings or hurt from this. Alan can say 6-11 for the record is fine. I'm at 7-10. So Alan and I aren't really too far off. Hey, Georgie, I am no chump. I appreciate that, bro. Chad Miner saying like and subscribe to the Dylan Tereman Show. Yeah, like I said, I'm trying to think of a name so I can make this a audio only podcast. It's tough. I'm kind of blanking. The creativity side is not always my strong suit for sure. I can sit here and analyze, football players and break down film and do all that. But when it comes to making a title that's going to get you guys to click on the shit, it escapes me. And that's why sometimes I need my my writer's block aid. Let's see what else we got. I feel like I'm catching up. Oh, Genergy, it's your third show. Okay. So you've been in here. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Glad you were able to get in here and chat though. makes it better. Your presence is always welcome here, Genergy. Thank you. D's, what's up, man? DT, my guy. I appreciate you, Mike. Thanks for checking it out. Alan, very jealous that Boy Green got to see a real quarterback today. Okay. I don't have any words for that. I don't know how you want me to respond to that. I'm not going to deny that Josh Allen is a better quarterback than Justin Fields. He was the MVP last season. So good for Boy Green, though. I think that's cool that he gets to, go to the Bills camp and talk to Elijah Moore and all those cool things. So happy for BG. I wanted to go to Panthers camp a couple years ago when I first lived here because Wofford Stadium is like less than 10 minutes away. I could probably walk from this apartment. It'd probably take me a little bit, but I could walk to Wofford University where the Panthers used to practice until Dave Tepper decided to build a new training facility in Rock Hill. And then somehow that got the kibosh put on that, and there's no longer a training facility being built in Rock Hill. So maybe they'll end up back in Wofford. I'm not even sure, honestly, but I did want to go to Panthers camp a couple years ago. All right, Alan with the football take, although it's slightly negative. Corley is a bum. We get to see the wide receiver we should have drafted in the 3rd round in week 1. Dude, the Roman Wilson stuff, man. Like, what if he's not good, though, Alan? Like, there's always that. And then the goalposts change, and all of a sudden we transition to Caleb Johnson being the guy. Like, I don't know, man. Sure, that's something that I'm not even willing to entertain at this point because we're so far away from knowing what Roman Wilson is. Like, yeah, we could have said Jalen Royals over Arian Smith, but if Jalen Royals breaks his leg and he can no longer play football, Arian Smith wins, right? So it's like, we just don't know. And Roman Wilson has not done enough to say, wow, oh my God, Roman Wilson. We all missed Puka Nacua 2.0 in the draft. So that's a tough one for me. This I will agree with. Tony Adams is a fundamentally flawed player, 100%. Find me what he does well consistently, and I will change my opinion. Yeti, first live stream you got to catch. Happy you're here, Yeti. I appreciate you. I like engaging with you in the comment section after a lot of my videos. I appreciate that for sure. Let's see what else we got. I think I'm catching up, but I'm also not catching up on these comments. Holy crap. All right. We're almost at the 1.5 hour mark. Wow, this is a long stream. This is great. All right, we're going to go all the way down to the bottom of the chat, get caught up, see what we got here. Oh, people are telling Alan to stop commenting. Oh, Alan says, I don't hate you, Dylan. You are just mid. Some people are elite. Some people are low lives. You are in the middle. That's fine. Let's see. Yo, Holmes, McDonald out with back spasms really concerns me. Yeah, I guess until we hear more from AG, it's, just surface level back spasms. It happened. They pulled them out. I've said it, a couple times here. If you're a top 25, top 30 player on this roster and you sustain an injury in training camp, if they say it's a week or two, give them the full week or two, right? I don't want to see Quinnen Williams back out there too quickly. I don't want to see John Simpson out there too quickly. So take your time, McDonald. And yeah, back spasms are not fun, but I also don't think it's something that is a cause for 5 alarm fires or anything like that. NY Jets super fan, appreciate the chat. Dylan, can our D-line hold up this year? I'm worried DT and Jermaine Johnson injury might be the downfall of our season. Downfall of the season? I don't think so. I think the downfall of the season would be if Justin Fields is a bottom 8 quarterback, or if the offensive line can't block and we're showing more of the Keith Carter, style offensive line play that, we saw the last 2 years. I think that would be the downfall of the team more. Obviously, the run defense and JJ's injury and, the lack of depth or so we think at defensive interior, it's definitely a cause for worry or concern. I don't know if that would be the downfall of the season. I think something being the downfall of the season would probably come from the offensive side of the ball. Let's see. Oh, now we're gauging Allen's low life to elite power rankings. God bless. Jaden D'Angelo. I will not put that chat up there, but yeah, sure. Still being me. Yo, Holmes, fundamentally flawed, reminds me of a few ex-girlfriends. Yeah. And, they're probably saying the same about you, Yo, Holmes, at the same time, but also, sometimes it's true. Yeah, Johnny Boy. Leave it to Johnny Boy to ask this type of question. Thoughts on shawties with big thighs? Yeah. Yeah. Give me that lower half thickness, 100%. I am a very big proponent of ass and legs, both on my women and my football players. I'll be completely transparent about that. If you follow me long enough, come draft time, I'm watching players and like Carl Brooks, the defensive interior player from Bowling Green. That man's got ass and legs for days, and I will write about it come Senior Bowl time. That first practice of Senior Bowl week, you will see a lot of ass and leg tweets from @DTereman. That is for sure. So, yeah, definitely a big fan. If you can see it from the front, I'm a fan. Good question, Johnny. Let's see. Chad, any concerns with the John Simpson injury? More probably that it's the back, more so than anything, because even if it's healed, I feel like it could still, flare up again. I feel like most of us in the chat have, done something and hurt our back in a way. And, I'll be okay in a week or two. And then 4 weeks later, you're like, oh, shit. And you just tweak it the wrong way and you're right back to feeling shitty. So I don't have a, high level of concern with Simpson, but I'm definitely a little, intrigued. I want to hear more information about all the injuries tomorrow from AG because there were 5 in the last practice. JD says, I hope Glenn plays the starters in preseason. This guy's on offense need reps, in my opinion. Yeah, that's what we said. If Justin Fields is on the field, I want to see every single starter that's going to be on the field with him playing for every single one of those snaps. And then if you want to keep the starters in and just take Justin off after that and let the offensive line and the weapons get some time with either Terod or Martinez or Cook, I'm cool with that too. But I want to see 2 to 3 drives average through the 3 games. So you're talking about 6 to 9 drives. And if you don't play in that third game, I want to see 6 to 9 drives in the first 2 games. That's not changing for me. I want to see 2 to 3 drives on average per preseason game because you have to go out on the field, do the drive, come off, talk to the OC, see what happened, make your adjustments for the second drive, and then go back out there and try to execute it again. So I want to see multiple drives from the starters in every preseason game. All right, I'll put this one up. This is positive. DT is Fialco light, and that is perfectly passable. Dude, if I am the ShopRite, Walmart, Stop and Shop, whatever version, Lane Co version of Andrew Fialco, that's fine. I would say that's a little bit more than mid, though. Maybe I guess I average out as mid because I'm not elite or low life, but Fialco light is definitely like a B grade in my opinion. Ricky says, I'm back and so is Jermaine. Time to jet up. Oh yeah, I'm sure Ricky is absolutely fired up to get Jermaine back in the fold. Ricky, probably the craziest YouTube content creator And shout out to his pyrotechnic guy, because you got some real cool stuff working in your studio right now, Ricky. Everybody go give Ricky NY a follow. He's definitely a fun listen. And I've been enjoying your live streams. I think they're like once a week, twice a week. Ricky's been doing them. So absolutely killing the content. Chad said the Jets also waived Jalen Simpson. Yeah, and then they brought in a defensive back. They brought in a defensive back instead when they got rid of him. I'm blanking on the name, but they brought in a DB when they waived Jalen Simpson. Johnny boy. I can't believe there's a follow-up to this. Wide hips or thick thighs? Thick thighs. Thick thighs. You don't need to have hips. We don't need them. We don't need them. You can have ass and thighs and without hips. Speaking strictly about women now, not football players. Football players need to have wide hips. Bill, thoughts on Sabo saying Cook is looking sneaky good? Yeah. I wasn't a huge fan of Brady Cook coming out in the draft process. When I was with Jet Nation, my co-host Glenn Naughton, who obviously go follow Jet Nation, subscribe to him. I think the content he puts out is also very good. He was a big Brady Cook fan, and he had Emory Hunt football game plan. He comes on every draft cycle on Jet Nation and talks to Glenn, and he had some really good things to say about Brady Cook in the pre-draft process and right after we drafted him as well. So, dude, if you can even consider yourself in the realm of being worth quarterback 3 or, practice squad stash and emergency quarterback designation with Brady Cook, that's great. I guess my only hope would be that the coaching staff doesn't think that it's worth keeping a third quarterback on the 53-man roster, because I think you could use that position somewhere else, like a safety or tight end, running back, wide receiver, D-line. Let's see what else we got. We're at the hour and a half mark. So Nate, I don't know if you're talking about me answering it so seriously. I'm going to answer the question seriously, even if it is sarcasm. Maybe you're not talking about me, but I'll answer all the questions. I'll be transparent. I have a feeling you're not talking about me, though. Christopher with a good chat. How similar is Wilkes' defense in San Fran to Salah's with us? I'm concerned Wilkes' influence on the defense could just be a carbon copy of what we saw the last few years. I think it's similar, right? That's why Shanahan employed him after Salah left. He had a guy who's going to run a similar defense. But I think AG is very different than Salah. So the collaboration of AG and Wilkes is definitely going to give us a new look on the defense. But I also think from what we've seen in training camp, it's not the same as far as 4 down rushers. You know who's rushing the passer. Everybody else is dropping back. I think that the blitzes and the exotic looks and the wrinkles and things of that nature from Wilkes is definitely going to set him apart from Salah. And I do think AG and Wilkes, the collaboration of the two, I think that's going to be a little bit different than Salah. Kevin Tattoos. All right. You got me here. He kept the receipts. 10 minutes ago, I did say this is a Jets show. And then I did go all Sir Mix-a-Lot on Johnny Boy's question. So, hey. It's a Jets show in its majority, right? Like, we don't get off the rails here. We'll answer a question or two. Like, I love answering questions about, like, golf or, like, other life questions. So, as long as it's not, BS. And you know what I mean by BS. Sharon, yeah, ass worldwide, wide. Absolutely. See, Sharon gets it. Sharon understands. Kevin Tattoos again. Jets have started every game and every season too slow. Get the ball rolling earlier in the preseason. Yeah, that's what I want. I want to see this team come out, pop somebody in the mouth from the jump. Right. I want to see Pittsburgh have the same feeling we had coming out of the San Francisco game. It's like, whoa, shit, these guys are serious. This is a tackle football sport, and we got to tackle each other. We got to be physical. That's the kind of mentality I want to instill in our opponents, is that, like, come the fourth quarter, they just don't want to get off the mat. And, you know, AG said it, put the damn ball down and go. And I love that from AG. What is that comment? Jeez, Jaden, you are going in time out. Holy crap, brother. What are we talking about? Nate is confusing me for Joe Blewett. So we've made it, folks. We're here. We've arrived. There's too many of you nerds. Thank you. I wear nerd proudly in the football community. Definitely not a nerd in school, but I'll be a football nerd. Clancy, this is what I'm trying to do, man. I'm just trying to be like Ricky New York. I'm trying to smoke and debate. Of course, Ricky. I appreciate it. Thank you. We'll have to collab soon. August is becoming a very busy month, but that's what's to be expected when football is ramping up. NY Jets superfan, Green Bean and I have talked about our love of big-assed football players. Actually, I love Green Bean. He's so fun to chop it up with. Johnny Boy, this is going to create controversy because I don't watch baseball. So therefore, you know the default answer. New York Yankees, baby. Why would you pick a loser if you don't watch the sport? Gotta pick the New York Yankees. I could probably name 4 people on the Yankees. So if that shows you my concern level and care for baseball, that's it. It's the Yankees, though. Yankees, Miami Heat. I would say just the Devils, but I really don't care. I've actually started to enjoy watching hockey a little bit more, and I don't really have a team. Most of my friends, though, are either Rangers or Devils fans, so I like sitting on the fence and watching them argue for them to not do anything when it's all said and done. David, shout out to you winning the Sauce Gardner jersey and then gifting it to Boomtown. That is awesome. The only thing I think you did wrong there was not pick me to give the Sauce Gardner jersey to. I'm completely kidding there, but I did find my Sauce Gardner autographed football card today. So when I get my regular Sauce Gardner jersey from Jake, that's going in the shadow box along with it, as my camera just goes out, of course. Dylan, do you think there's a realistic chance that the Jets keep Adrian Martinez or Brady Cook on their practice squad? Martinez's primary value is he goes back to the 2023 with Tanner Engstrand. I didn't even know that, so that's a great insight point. I think right now he'd probably have the advantage over Brady Cook as the quarterback 3. I don't want either of them to make the practice or the 53, but honestly, if they even felt like it was necessary to keep both on the practice squad, I'm okay with that. You get 16 practice squad spots. The Jets get 17 because they have a couple international pathway players like Leander Vegan who would work in that extra free space that they get on the practice squad. So yeah, I would like to see one, if not both of these guys stick around for sure. I think the chance is high that they one makes it to the practice squad. Yo, Holmes, Dylan, how is the golf game after the car accident? Yeah, that was a tough one, man. I couldn't golf for probably about 3 weeks, maybe even longer, maybe like 4.5, 5 weeks. I couldn't golf. Feels like every summer something happens. Like I hurt my back at work 2 years ago and I couldn't golf for 5 weeks. This year it was the car accident that I couldn't golf for 5 weeks. So it's been fine though. I went out last weekend. I went to my brother's in North Carolina, played with our uncle and our cousin. I did awful though. It was pouring down rain. It wasn't supposed to rain. It rained the night before, so I knew it was going to be wet, and I brought an extra pair of socks for that reason. But it was currently raining during the round, and I had to change my socks on hole 3. And by the time we got through the 9 holes, I needed like 4 pairs of socks. It was a swampy mess. I shot a 59, had some good drives, some good approach shots. It was more just like around the green. I was struggling. My 56 wasn't cooperating with me out of the bunker. I scolded over the green a couple times, but the drives and the 5-iron, I mean, my 5-iron was just going nuts that day. But I shot a 59. The round before that, I shot a what? A 94 over 18 holes. So that was my personal best. That's at a course here in Spartanburg that I really like called the Creek. Yeah, I've shot 96 there a couple times. Then I just shot a 94. I went 47, 47 in that one. So I loved it. So bit of an up and down. I finally got my handicap on 18 birdies under 20 over the, entire 3 years that I've been golfing. So I've put in every score. I'm honest with myself in the app. And, at one point I was like a 35 plus handicap. So to get it all the way down to a 20 handicap, I feel is really good. M. Villette asked if Steve Wilkes comes from the Lovie Smith tree. Yeah, I believe it is. Yeah, I believe you're right. There's somebody else too that Wilkes comes from. That's a pretty good name too. So like they're coming from a big, well-respected group of coaches. And I think it's funny that AG comes from like the Sean Payton tree, and Jets fans hated Sean Payton for the last 2 years when Rodgers was here. Okay, a couple more. We're almost at, hour 45. This is one of my longest streams, but I appreciate it all. And I told myself I'm going to stay dedicated. As long as the comments stay coming in, I will certainly stay here and chop it up with you guys. How am I feeling about Cisco? I feel great, man. I think he's probably going to be like second on the team in interceptions. If I had a hot take, I'd say Michael Carter is going to lead the team in interceptions, and then Andre Cisco will be second. So he'll lead the safety group in interceptions. And I think everything he's done at camp has already proven that. Clancy in here talking about indicas and sativas. A lot of love for sativas in the group. Okay. Hey, I'm more of an indica guy. I will smack down some indicas all day, or indica leaning hybrids. The sativas are cool, whatever, they don't really do much for me. I'm not a fan of the head high of it. Oh shit, Rick Hen. Is that not? I don't know. I don't know the T in the chat. So if that's not a compliment, I apologize. But I certainly think it is. I think Joe's a very smart guy. I learn a lot when I watch Joe. Sometimes I get confused when I watch Joe, but that's because when he breaks down nuances of positions, that's football knowledge that I get lost on. I try to use layman's terms and stuff like that. So, but I like what Joe does. Let's see. Yeah, I saw you DM me, Ricky. I'll check that out before I go on my ride after I wrap this up. Thoughts on phantom kicks? Is that what they were doing in practice the other day, where they were like simulating the motion of a kick and then we just didn't know what the hell they were doing? Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand it. Did they even like snap a ball, and like did the holder get the ball down, or like how did it work? Was it all just fake? Like no ball was ever snapped? I'm not like, if the ball was snapped and McNamara was holding it, then yes, there is, fundamental reasoning behind it. You don't need the guy to kick it every time, but to get the holder to hold it, I think is certainly worth repping. Jake Asman with another chat. Do you think Beastbreaker is having a good night? Why wouldn't he be having a good night, right? It's Wednesday. The Jets play football this week. Do I think he ate the zucchini? Absolutely not. What is he waiting for at this point? I don't know. I don't think he'll have a good night when he decides to eat the zucchini, because it's either going to be bad or make him really sick. But yeah, I hope Beastbreaker's having a good night. Clancy, I didn't know that there was a guy from Spartanburg on that Moonshiner show, but some of those guys are freaking wild what they'll do to make some shine. Christopher, I don't think he has learned about this show yet. We are, in fact, doomed when that happens. Beast found my Instagram account, and he added me on Instagram, and he sent me a message, and I cordially hit the ignore button. I wasn't going to accept or decline, but I see what you're doing here, Johnny boy. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing, Johnny boy. Oh, Jake's convincing me. Go longer. Do not end. This stream must go all night. Yeah, so at 2:45 in the morning, you can see me doing the Bobby Midnight. Well, I got 8 people on screen watching me sleep. Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do, Jake. Maybe one day. Like I said, if I get as successful as, some of these individual Jets content creators out there, you will see some stuff happen on this stream that maybe we didn't expect. Yeah, Nate, I'm a nerd about weed too. Yeah, if I care about something, I'm gonna be a nerd about it, unfortunately, whether it's, football, music, my strains of marijuana. Yeah. Ricky says Gorilla Glue and Bubba right now. What do I got here? I got some Brownie Scout, and then I got some Blueberry Wobbler. So we'll be enjoying that. Yeah, Johnny boy, in your world, they probably are. But no, in this world here, they are strains of flower. Oh, God, Ricky. That's a good answer. That's a good answer, Ricky. You guys are crazy in the chat. I appreciate every single one of you. There is some crazy talk in here. Jaden, you are leading a chat down a wormhole I'm not quite sure I want to follow. I think you're talking about Joe here, not me. I hope when you watch my all 22 breakdowns that you don't get the same vibe from me, because I do have the tendency to be very monotone when I'm doing my film breakdowns, because I'm trying to be concise and try to inform people at the same time. Sharon, I don't know if I should be worried or if you got to calm your freaky down or what's going on here, but if that makes for good content, hey, I'm not opposed. Yo, Holmes. Yeah, it is pretty strong stuff, the Brownie Scout. It's doing good. It's doing good. I'm excited about the Blueberry Wobbler, though. Bill M, I don't know, and I'm not quite sure I want to know. Jets worldwide, wide. Oh, here you are, Dylan. What's up? What's up with you, Snowball? I appreciate you tuning in. I loved the unboxing of your jersey the other day, although that box was in rough shape, dude. UPS was really trying to rain on your parade there, but luckily it's not something that's breakable in that box. Ricky, I thought this said I'm a huge Glorilla fan, and I was really about to get excited because Ricky New York and Glorilla is the collab I never thought I'd see. Clancy fried zucchini is banging. I don't know how we got there, but Snowball, yeah, Johnny boy, behave. Yeah, you missed it, Snowball. He was asking about my preference in upper leg qualities of women. Eli Betts, Dylan, you're in South Carolina, right? Me and the fellows might be headed there for a golf trip. Got any recommendations on courses? So I live in upstate South Carolina. So the cardinal directions, northwest corner of South Carolina. I'm like an hour from Clemson. I'm an hour from Columbia. I'm like 4 hours from the coast. So I guess if you're coming for like a guy's trip, I would definitely go like closer to the coast, whether it's like Hilton Head area or, I don't know if Charleston has good golf courses or anything like that, but I would definitely go more towards the coast of South Carolina. Don't come up by me. We have golf courses, but they're not like anything crazy special. So yeah, I would say stay towards the coast if I had to give you any recommendations. Christopher, what do I do for work? I have to imagine juggling work and Jets content must be tough. Yeah, it's definitely tough. This is it's a side hobby, and it's hopefully over the next 3 to 5 years it becomes more of my primary income. But I do flooring, so technically in the realm of umbrella of construction, I am a flooring installer. So, like for example, today I showed up to work 6:30. We got to the job probably like 7:30. 675 square feet of flooring went down. We do the quarter round and everything. I was home. I was back at my car at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I got home a little before 2:30. And then normally my routine on a practice day is I shower, I eat lunch or something real quick, and then I, curate through some tweets from people at practice, try to come up with the best information to make a video. And then if I go live later on at night, I do. If not, I don't. So that's kind of my schedule right now, at least during camp. I think once the regular season comes, I'll have more of okay, on Mondays, I'm with Buffalo. On Tuesdays, I'll do this. On Wednesdays, I'll do this. And then slowly like figure it out as we get in the season. But yeah, it's definitely tough juggling everything. And if you guys are here long enough, if I'm around in the YouTube streets long enough, hopefully you'll see me slowly taking more days away from the flooring and focusing more in on the content, which, as you can see, this camera is not trying to cooperate with the amount of content I want to do. Yeah, Ricky, you can say that. I like them thick with 2 C's. However you want to, put that out there. Yeah, I do. Is this how Johnny Boy talks on the Bobby Midnight Show, Jay Quest? I hand up, I'm not, a huge consumer of the Bobby Midnight content. I also think he goes live when I'm already like close to bedtime. So, oh, Snowball, you'll be in High Point. I was just there. As my God damn it, this camera. I was just at the High Point Rockers Stadium the other day. I was watching. Let's see if I got it. I was watching the Carolina Core. They are the minor league, I guess, MLS affiliate in the High Point, North Carolina area. Took my nephew there. My brother had like a work function, so that was cool. We were literally on the field watching, amateur soccer, but it was cool. High Point's a cool area. Let's see what else. Chris B, I appreciate it. Thank you. Mike D's nuts. I appreciate you as well. Yeah, Rick Kent, I'm blurry, man. I'm trying to. God damn it. I moved too close to my camera and this shit happens every time. Here, let's see what happens. Let's go this. Get it to focus. It's not gonna focus. We're completely lost. The camera has given up. It's not equipped to last as long as the chat is, clearly. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to deal with a blurry DT for the last couple minutes of this, but we're almost done. We're gonna wrap it up here. We're just under 2 hours. Holy crap, just under 2 hours. You guys are incredible. I love all the engagement. Turn off autofocus. I need a tech savvy guy for that. That's not my job. That's not, like I said, I can sit here and chop it up and talk ball, but I can't create titles and I can't figure out how to work my technology. So unfortunately, that's just what it is. Maybe I can get this to try again. Usually this works if I like slowly bring the hat back, but it's just not working. It's fine. we are going to wrap it up here, though, just under 2 hours. Thanks, Jaden. It's infuriating on my end, too, but maybe I'm better blurry because, like BJF said, I'm smarter than him, but he's more handsome than I am. So with that, I'm going to end it here. You guys are awesome. Shout out to Tyson Rauch again for joining. I will link all his stuff in the description below. Please go subscribe to him, follow him on all social media accounts. I'm sure he and I will be collaborating again in the near future. Tyson's awesome to chop it up with, and I appreciate it. Everybody in the chat, you guys are awesome. A1 since day one. You guys know how it goes here. I appreciate it. Like the video, please, on your way out. Hit the subscribe button if you have not done so already. I really appreciate it. We're on the road to 1,000 subs. You can see that clearly in the bottom corner of my screen, although you can't see me clearly. We're getting there, man. We're close. So I think we're closing in on 630. So we're getting there. If we can average about 100 subscribers a week, we'll get to the 1,000 before the regular season happens, before we crush Aaron Rodgers, and I will be in attendance for that game. So thank you again, everybody that tuned in. You guys are awesome. I'm not sure when I'll be back live, but I will be putting out a practice video every day there is practice. So be on the lookout for those short form videos as well. I should have at least one more college quarterback breakdown. Garrett Nussmeier is coming. I know I've said that for a couple weeks now, but it is coming. And Garrett Nussmeier is somebody that everybody should be dialed in on in terms of 2026 quarterbacks. So with that, I appreciate everybody. Until next time, I'm DTereman, and let's go Jets.